Welcome to the Mac podcast. This is our 7th podcast, and I have someone super special with our company. He's been here for a few years and have brought some employees to us from other places. He also is our project manager of our GC division, Cody Zeman. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Good, man. Good. Thank you for being on here. I think we're going to try and provide you some value of what it is like to be a project manager and what it takes to be a successful project manager. So like any small companies in the contracting space, this would be a key one for you. Cody also has some experience with real estate. Obviously, that's what he builds for a living. So he has some value that he can help bring maybe during a value add project or a new construction, new development project, which we experience in. So Cody, let's talk about some of the tips that you can provide as a project manager. What's it like? What's some of your struggles, man?
Project management is always a battle, upwards battle. I guess you got to take your days and wins and losses, and hopefully the wins outweigh the losses. And
yeah, well, I imagine it's just, I think we were talking about COVID even before this, like our job has even changed since then. With labor shortages and all of that.
Drastically, yep. Labor shortages is a huge one now. It used to be material shortages and long lead times on things, and now it just seems like you can't find the people.
So you're seeing a increase in like supply, like in your experience, like you can get things if you order it.
Yeah, it seems like I can get things, 4 to 6 weeks, pretty standard, which is
that's normal,
pretty normal. It used to be 12 to 16 weeks, and during COVID, and now it's I can get the material, but I can't get the guy to put it on. So
no. So and I always think like we're in this like COVID whole deal right now. Like there's nobody anywhere. Like either the boomers are retired and they were pulling the weight, or like what's going on? Like because we're past COVID. Well, I think like it's not a national disaster or whatever it is. It's not
right.
But like what happened? Like because 3 years ago did we have that problem? 4 years ago?
No, 4 years ago. Yeah, it seemed like we had all the labor force in the world, and we could get things and things were happening. Now it's just like a weird curveball where, you got to fight the battle of getting people to show up to work, and they can't fire the people because they got nobody else, so the employees just do what they want.
So how do you try to prevent some of that, or like how do you try to keep others like, because you can only be so freaking hard on them, right? Like it's a fine line you got to ride of hard ass and being the good guy that they want to work for. Like you got to be the leader too. So how do you ride that line a little bit?
Yeah, I guess we try and it depends on the day too, but maybe buy the guys on site lunch, or bring them a Powerade or something, just small things like that. They're like, oh hey, I'm maybe gonna come back to work tomorrow and finish this up for this guy. He bought me lunch.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that. And then we can be as nice as we want to the owners, but at the end of the day, they're just telling the people to show up, and if they don't show up, it's not on them really. So
right. So this would not only be internal guys, but these are your subs. Like you're just like,
oh yeah,
you almost got to beg them to get
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I just don't get it. Like what happened in COVID, like that all of a sudden, all the labor force disappeared. It's like, no one's working anymore.
Right.
You can go to, Hunter and I were talking about like kids are going to college. He doesn't know any of them really working like, he was, or
right.
I think we got a younger guy, Spencer's on our team, and a couple other college guys, and they don't know what all their buddies do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
you just ride mom and dad's wallet. I mean, like you used to get college kids all the time.
That's a big thing. Yeah. They don't have to work because mom and dad are supporting them, and they're living at home, and they don't have any responsibilities. So they just feel like they're, I guess, home free.
Yeah. Okay. This topic specifically, because this podcast is kind of like unfollow the herd.
Mm-hmm.
This pisses me off because as a parent, you should be making your children carry themselves, because if they're not willing to carry themselves, you're going to have to carry them even longer, because they're going to buy more things. Lifestyle inflation happens. But they need to understand what car insurance is. They need to understand what licensing a car is. They need to understand a cell phone bill. They need to understand their insurance. Like, I wanted a lot out of life, so it was like, my parents were not going to help me with any of this. They just weren't. Like,
I'm on the same boat.
They'll put food on the table, right? And I know you had the same background in me as construction. But it pisses me off that parents today teach their kids about go to college, get a great job, don't work in construction, go get paid $40,000 a year, climb the ladder, hopefully get paid $100,000 by the time you're 50.
Yeah.
And then maybe you get $1 million in your 401k, enough to retire, which is probably not going to be enough by then. PS. So pisses me off. And these trade guys make decent money. So like, why is there such a short, like, I don't know. Some of these guys are making, I think from what we grew up in construction, $1 an hour is where I started, but it's like, even from 5 years ago, what kids would make. Now it's like, I don't even know. What is some of the labor out there pool getting? Like, it's some of the trade guys.
Yeah. I guess looking back, I was setting steel buildings, for $15 an hour. And, I thought that was pretty good wage, And then we'd hit a Davis Bacon job, and then we're getting paid, $30-$40 an hour. Like, oh man, we're making money. But I think that's the norm now, is $30-$40 an hour that, some of these trades guys are getting, electricians, HVAC, plumbing.
How does that compare to like right before COVID? Like, do you know any of that? Like
yeah, I feel like
if you heard,
it's probably just normal before COVID, maybe 20 to 30, for those highly skilled guys. And then, after COVID happened, we get this labor shortage, and now everybody's looking for the same position, and the only way to get the guys is to pay for it,
Yeah, the guys out there, like you said, are making $30-$40 an hour. I don't know one college kid who's coming out of let's talk about like Hunter. Like, he had a business degree, went to college. Mm-hmm. He made mom proud.
Oh yeah, very proud. Yeah.
Mama's boy. Hey, I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
But he, what kind of job did he get? It didn't sound like he was making $30-$40 an hour.
No, yeah, I picked him up. He was making like $16 an hour, and then I think they switched him to commission based, so he wasn't really making anything.
Wow.
And I was like, well, you can come work for me, and I'll guarantee you, $18 an hour. And he's like, oh, $18 an hour? Like, that's pretty good.
Cody's thinking like, that's damn near free for a guy I need to push him. He was talking to me about pushing a broom and stuff when he was like, talking about a wrong person, wrong seat. It's like, Hunter, you did a hell of a job sweeping, but we underutilized you.
Yeah. Me and Hunter, totally different.
Brothers, by the way.
Yeah, totally
Hunter
different.
Zeman would be his brother.
Lifestyles different. What he can do versus what I can do, completely different. He's very skilled at computers and knowledgeable on that. Whereas, I could build a house,
right.
Just and hit the ground running with that. So.
Yeah. And when I was a young kid, you learned on your side of the world, you learned carpentry. Where on my side of the world, I learned concrete. It's just what dad taught us. Right?
Yeah. We dabbled a little bit in both. And
we did the same.
Yeah.
I think you had to. Especially in North Dakota, where we live.
Yeah,
you got to be multifaceted.
Right, yeah, do it all.
and then I kind of go back and I tell everyone, focus on one thing, because when you start focusing on one thing, you start getting good at something and actually being more profitable.
Right. Yeah, so, you can get in and get out fairly quick because you do it every day.
Right. Yeah. So, well, what's some big things in the project management world? We talk labor shortages. I know that's a headache right now. It sounds like supply is getting better for you. What are some big things though, like in your position? Because you're I don't know how many years you've been in a project management position.
I guess with Mac, I feel like I've been in that position the whole time.
Yeah,
4 years.
It's kind of adapted a little bit, or growing the role probably.
More in depth.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you learned? Like, what's the challenges like a starting out project manager? Like, what would you tell them? Like, you're going to have to get really good at these skills if not.
Yeah, I guess starting out, biggest thing is, cover your ass. Always be looking back and following up with people. If you don't follow up, subs sometimes will slip their mind and oh shit, I forgot to do that, right? Well, if you don't follow up and you don't know if it happened or not, you're kind of you're just winging it at that point. You know, if the owner comes to you, hey, did this happen? And you're just like, you tell him, yeah. Well, he shows up on site and it didn't happen. You know, you look pretty bad at you know, in those situations.
So explain me a following up situation, like kind of what you mean, like put us in a situation.
Yeah, just like say we're in punch list stage and say the faucet isn't working. You schedule the plumber to go there and fix that faucet, and say you got to move in that Friday. Well, Thursday night or Thursday, you just shoot a message to the plumber. Always get in writing too. That's one of my big things. You know, email, text message. You can call them. You can call them too, but always follow up with an email or a text message. Get it in writing. Just say, hey, did you get this faucet fixed up? I got to move in Friday, and then he'll either confirm or deny whether he did it. You know.
Right. So do you use, Hunter and I were talking a lot about communication tools, and I think maybe following up is probably what you're talking about. Whose ball's in whose court, and is it complete or is it not complete? And I know, do you use Procore then for like a tool of following up? You didn't mention that, but I didn't know if that was part of the process with some of those subs.
Yeah, so Procore, we're still fairly new with it, but I mean, the more we get into it, the more of a useful tool it's been for us. I know there's a task setting on there where you can assign tasks to people.
Right.
And if your name's in Procore, you can assign them a task. So I think down the road, we'll start utilizing that for future projects.
Yeah. So we talked about like Teams, like it ends up being a dumping ground for almost everything. And the problem with Teams, so there's applications like Slack or Asana, Monday.com. It assigns a task more like Procore, and then you know whose ball's in whose court.
Right.
And you know that I think you can set timelines with it, like how fast you need things done.
Yep.
Because even when it comes to, I think we were talking a little bit about like the project needs to be done by this day. Okay, well then I need to know by the first week, I need to know my, like what products I need to order, whatever. And I need to order them by this week because there's lead time, right?
Yep.
So you can do some submittals to owners and
we use that with the Procore. You can set a date, you know, when you need that information by, whether it's gonna delay the project, if there's gonna be a cost impact with the, you know,
right.
You know, you can set all that up in Procore, so it documents everything. So anybody that replies to that, it documents it head to toe. So
gotcha. And so is there, and I love that because I'm guessing that's all automated. When you submit what you need from the customer, it just puts it in their court automatically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of setup to do with it, but once it's set up correctly, it just goes right to them, and then if they hit reply, it goes right back to you, and then you can filter it by whose court it's in, stuff like that. So.
Gotcha. So this would be your architects, your anyone within the project, basically, is kind of how you communicate to them.
Architects, subs, we kind of get everybody integrated into Procore, and like that's what we're talking on Procore, because emails get so hard to track, and there's 4 different emails about one thing. Well, he was in this email but she wasn't, it's too hard to track. So that's where having one place to, having one centralized place, where you can see everything is huge.
Right. We went through many programs too. Oh my gosh. I think when we first started out, it was like QuickBooks Project, and I'd have like a little manila envelope, and it would say Daryl's Garage on it.
Oh yeah, I remember your envelopes. Yeah, you'd have the change order stuff on the back of the folder.
I said it's such a blessing when Hunter's in his position now, and like I don't even know if file folders exist today. Like in a minimal standpoint.
Yeah, I have them now, but it's more so for plan.
Okay, gotcha.
And pictures of things. But other than that, everything's on Procore that we need.
Right. Get rid of the papers.
Yeah.
And I suppose just everyone can see them on Procore. It's cloud-based.
Yep.
Get rid of the paper.
Yeah, I could be on site. I could pull it up on my phone.
Yeah. I
always have the information with me, which is another big thing, with Procore. The guys on site have all the updated info. If if there's a plan change, it goes to everybody. So
right. Yeah, I think it's a useful tool because we were talking about like QuickBooks, and then there was an add-on called Notify, Oh my God.
There's add-ons for an add-on, you know.
Every time, well, we were just talking, it's like every time there's an add-on to a platform, like Procore could come out with the best accounting software ever. It will still suck probably. Their focus is management of a project, right?
And I think they got that down pretty good.
Right, yeah, that's what they're good at, right? It'd be like us just like opening a masonry company, or let's open a siding company within. It's like, well, we'll give her smoke, you know, and we'll do some bids and hopefully get it done correctly. You know, it's like, it's not your niche. It's probably going to be a little buggy. You know what I mean? Like focus in on one thing, and Procore is a strong tool for following up. I think the lines of communication, because these people are on all different spots. Everyone's on their mobiles now. You know, they're like, you got to have a central location for your communication tools. Which is so important.
It's been huge for us.
Because it's going to probably limit the amount of text messages and emails and just bullshit, I guess, for you.
Yeah.
And everyone's informed. Everyone knows that the conversation's going on.
Yeah, so. There's been a few projects, you know, where, you know, we'd start and there'd be a plan change. Well, you know, the plan change didn't necessarily get to that one sub. Well, he's putting a sink in the wrong spot. You know?
Or he framed the window, but it was in the first plan spot, not the second plan spot.
I'm glad we've outgrown that phase of our company.
So what's another thing that you provide and you know, just something you learned kind of going through the journey, because this podcast is all about going through the journey. If we were all perfect and had a great podcast, the podcast would suck. Like, what's the problems?
Yeah, I guess adaptability is a huge one. You know, just for, you know, standpoint as a job aspect, you know, that you got to be adaptable to keep the job moving, but then you got to be stern enough, you know, to get that thing done on time and on budget. But, you know, there's always things happen on site and changes, you know, things aren't perfect, right? And then it also goes back into, you know, working for this company. You know, we were fairly small, didn't really do a whole lot of commercial, and now look at us. We're a straight commercial now, you know. Yeah. And adaptability, you know, I've had to learn softwares, I've had to learn, you know, schedules, like all kinds of stuff that I did not know how to do. But, you know,
so it's the growing pains of that.
Oh yeah.
And adapting. I think we learn to adapt and hopefully make our job easier. Find what you're good at a little bit too. Yeah. It's not like we're good at opening all these applications and you know, when you're a residential contractor, like where both of our heads used to live, your mindset is just, that's how you work, right? Like you don't have a bunch of people that rely on you.
Right.
We're commercial, you got to scale, you got to know how to do the same job here as it is in 100 miles away. Like you need to be able to run it the same way. So I think that's your challenges in commercial. Just coming from a residential world, that's like where my dad lived. That's where you lived. It's life was simple. We did the work.
Yeah, just get the work done. Yeah,
we got the check from the customer at the end.
Yeah, if something didn't happen, you could probably jump in and do the work. Well, now that this big commercial stuff, well, if something doesn't happen, you can't just go and do it because it's something out of your scope. Like you have no idea how to do that. You don't know how to, you know, erect a steel building, right? You know, so it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't have like beers with the owner at the end of the job for that 1 week job. Like you're living months on these jobs.
Well, it depends on the owners too. I mean, some of them are cool, like to have beers.
We like the good customers.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag Scott Rec.
Yeah.
So I think being adaptable, we've just moved I would say we started learning the word no to residential. And I think we still learning the word no. Like what shouldn't we manage today? Should you go manage $10,000, $50,000 projects? Is that going to turn the curve for us?
Ooh, I mean, $10,000, $50,000 projects would be a nightmare. I think it would be too stressful for what it's worth, you know.
And my point is here, it's like, you got to learn the word no. I remember saying no like when we were doing this in the concrete world, because I think that kind of phased, and then the GC kind of pulled with it. But we started learning the word no on these driveways. These were my bread and butter. Like these, like tears come to my eye.
2-day deal, get in, get out.
Yeah, like Jen's like no, we don't do that anymore. It's like, oh my God. I told money to leave. Like we literally this was bread and butter to us back in the day. It's like you framing a house, like, no, we have to say no.
Yeah. And there's been times where we get phone calls like, we don't want to frame a house. Like, well, I got PTO, I can maybe,
oh yeah,
that's really the only way we're going to do it. Yeah.
Because now you like see what you're getting paid on doing the side hustle. It's like, gosh, if I don't say no, I'm going to fall into the trap and it's going to hurt my overall, like where I want to go. So again, I think in business owners, that got to be focused. You have to learn the word no. And if you're adapting, we can't do $10,000, $50,000 project. It doesn't turn the curve for us anymore.
No.
But if you're in the perfect 10 $1 million jobs or maybe 10 $3 million jobs, they're about the same lines of work for us on our end now.
I would say so, yeah.
And we can charge a lot less for those, because $50,000 jobs, you'd have to charge what, 200%?
Oh yeah. And there's going to be headaches with $50,000 job. And
it's true. It's no different in the investment game. The $10,000 investors are going to be right up your ace compared to the $500,000.
I would say, in general contracting world, anything under $1 million is probably going to be much of a headache. And a straight no from us.
Right. Well, we won't hit our revenue goals. We won't hit our margins. We will not cover overhead. We just know it needs to be a no. And I think what we realized with the residential driveways, the bread and butter of the concrete world, it was, I can do 1,000 driveways and I will not make our overhead.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, and we can't do 1,000 even with the capacity, the people we had. So it was like, we have to say no. So, the key to this, guys, is really learn the word no to jobs that are too small, because they end up being pains. Unless they're really good customers, you take care of those ones. But
unless the job like really, really, really makes sense, you can really make some good money on it. And, but other than that, it's no.
You got to be a no. And it's unfortunate to turn away some customers that we want to do work for. Just the project doesn't fit us anymore. So you gotta learn where your business is adapting to.
Right.
I think in the project management world, because it's just as much management to do the $50,000 job or the $500,000 job.
Right.
And those two jobs mean way two different things to us, and we can charge way less because it's running Procore, running all these systems we have, foundation and job costing. It's like we have to operate at a minimum $500,000 to $1 million job, just for it to make logical sense for the customer and for ourselves.
Yep.
So, but I think it's true point being adaptable, because we're doing it again. We're always, every year, we go up a little bit, and then all of a sudden the $1 million job's like, man, I can't even. I can barely get this to work.
Right now, it's like if we could get two, $13 to $15 million jobs, that would set up our year. That would be, that would really all we really need.
Right. Absolutely.
Then the rest is, just putting the work to the pavement,
Right. So if you're looking into a development job or something that you want to build, I mean, this is what Cody builds them for a living. I help create the developments and Cody executes them. If you're looking to develop something, guys, make sure to click over to Mac Construction, find me, DM me. You can find Cody on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Tell us what projects you have. We do take projects literally from the dirt to giving you the keys to maybe even managing the project for you and just handing you a check at the end. So super important with like how our development company works. Like if you want a cost-effective company and you have a $2 to $3 million development that you want to do, give us a call. We have a lot of experience in this. We do this ourselves. We know how to value engineer a project, because there's a lot of value engineering that goes into these projects.
Yeah, we got to hit numbers.
And you can reduce the amount of mistakes that you would do yourself or working with a small contractor to save a little bit of money. We know how to find every last dollar in these projects and provide you the greatest value for your dollar. So if you are reaching out for a development, find us on LinkedIn, go to Mac Construction. There's a million ways to find us. But we appreciate that too. Let's talk about the next topic. What do you want to take this
topic? Tip?
You're talking
my life, or where do you want to go?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your life. I think we both have similar pasts. I think I'm a little older than you.
Yeah, you're kind of
34,
losing a little bit of hair.
And I'm losing hair.
Still got a full head.
But I did grow taller, so maybe
yeah. That's
I had to throw the short back in there because I think Hunter was trying to use that last episode too.
he's thinning up top too, but
Is
he's got the height on me. So
yeah, maybe us tall guys lose hair.
yeah, maybe
Short guys, you know what? Hey, I was talking about short guys with influencers. It's like the Meet Kevin, the Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
right? Like all these guys are shorter.
Yeah.
Like a lot shorter than I realized. And
I remember going to Grant Cardone and I seen him on stage.
good heads of hair though.
Him and Kevin Hart are up there and they're like same height. I'm like, oh yeah, I fit right in with these guys.
You literally do.
Yeah,
You're like the next influencer.
Oh gosh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you got the nice hair,
Yeah.
like the whole thing going.
The statement.
I can't see your scalp yet, so it's all still there.
Yeah. A little gray.
We like to have a little fun. We didn't have our shot of tequila, by the way. I don't know.
Do that at the end.
Okay. We usually maybe have a little Tesla tequila. Jen hooks us up with to loosen up the Mac construction guys if they need it. But Cody's doing fine.
Yeah.
Well, tell me like where were you from? We found out about Hunter's story. What's Cody's story? What's your
Story similar to Hunter's, like where we came from. We're brothers. So.
same hatch?
Yeah. Lived in Grand Forks for a while. Moved to East Grand Forks. I think I was in 4th grade at that time.
When did you graduate?
09.
09. Okay.
Yeah.
Hunter was 14. Okay.
Yep. 5
years older. Wiser.
5 year spread. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. We do have a younger brother too with a different mom, but he's definitely the curveball of the kid of the family. So
he's the black sheep.
Yeah, a little bit. He doesn't.
He's like literally a golden child. Like your mom must have loved him.
Oh yeah. He's the baby of that side.
So how were you to mom?
I mean, I feel like I was maybe her favorite. Maybe I don't know. She was very hard on me. But growing up, that was probably a good thing, right?
What is she? And it sounded like she wanted the best. She just wanted the best for you guys.
Yeah, she definitely did. We, didn't have a whole lot growing up, and she worked hard to give us a house, and that's when we moved to East Side. We used to live in a trailer, moved to East Side, and we had this whole house. I got my own room, we used to share rooms.
Dude, that's literally my story.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that, and then, but, me and my mom, I think, we're real stern. We're both, hardworking people, and I think we just kind of butted heads a little bit. When I was 17, 18, I'm like, I could not get out of that house fast enough.
You graduated, you're gone.
Yeah. We moved into a house in East Side, so it wasn't far away, but I was like, I'm out of here. I've had enough. So, and I wanted to do.
Where did you go?
Yeah, it was just a house in East Side over behind Burger King. Lived there for a few years. It was actually an ex-girlfriend's house, so that was kind of interesting.
Like living with the girlfriend right out of...
kind of, yeah. So it was her great-grandma's house, and she wasn't living there, and I was like, well, hey, I can live here. I'm pretty handy. I can take care of the place, and, rent was $200. I was like, where are you going to find rent for $200? 2-bedroom house with a garage,
Jeez.
Yeah, that was a steal.
That's, especially when you're out of high school, you're like,
oh, yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah, huge.
So what were you doing? What did you do? Did you work? What did you do for work? Like, how did you get through high school?
I got a laundry list of jobs. It's a mile long. I've done it all.
Well, what did you? And we won't go specifically but was it carpentry then, or what were you in? Like, what were some of your background jobs?
Yeah, carpentry is a big one. I always seem to fall back on that, but I've been, kind of a mechanic and a shop manager for Ag Systems in Manville. I did that for a few years when I was building my house.
Okay.
Before that, whitewater truck wash, Quiznos,
Quiznos,
meat carver at Royal Fork back in the day. That was my first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to
meat.
Oh yeah, I had to wear the chef hat, and would you like roast beef or?
Can we bring you back?
Yeah.
Bro, I had a job at Target.
Oh boy, you had to wear the red shirt.
Oh yeah, red
khakis.
Shirt. I was in college. My eyes were about as red as my shirt some days because I was so hungover there. But yeah. But like all the girls shop there, so I was like, it's got to be a great gig.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So
backing on the girls with your red shirt on.
Yeah, they come through their underwear, and they know they're fucking with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but. I had some jobs too. It was fun. Yeah. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I sold the shit out of red cards.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh man, I had fun with that. I was their part-time guy and their best seller.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you Quiznos, and then you pretty much you didn't buy Quiznos then. You moved on from Quiznos.
Yeah, I moved on from Quiznos. So yeah, right out of high school, I did go to college to be in graphic design, right in UND.
Graphic design. I don't know any of this either.
Yeah. So I'm pretty good at drawing things. Really good in art. I thought graphic design would be a cool thing. You know, I thought it'd be more like actually, you know, pen to paper. No, it's all computer. I'm like, this is not for me. You know, so I did. I think a semester or two, and I was out. You know. Wow. Back into the construction world I went, you know. And then, you know, I think I worked construction with GW and Sons for a few years, and then I was like, hey, you know,
you're building steel buildings,
apartments, you know, hotels, that kind of thing. Like the Baymont Hotel in town here, and like the Icon building.
Gotcha. Big commercial type building.
Yeah. Yep. So that's where I learned a lot of the framing stuff that I know, and like speed and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
How things go together.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always curious as a kid. Like, I just remember as like a kid, like when we started building these duplexes or whatever, my dad was like, how do you like figure out where all the stuff go? Like,
right.
Like I was 8 and I was just like, we gotta dig in the ground and pour footings and then walls, and then like, we'd frame, and then these little brackets would have to go around the framing to hold it from the wind. It's like, how in the hell do you figure out all this stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to me, you know, growing up with, you know, going with my dad on weekends, you know, every other weekend, because my parents were divorced, so I'd be with my dad on the job site, my dad and grandpa, and we'd be shaving footings, you know, with a shovel, you know, to get them to perfect depth before pour, you know, you're talking like tedious, and, you know, by the yard how much you're gonna have, you know. That was my grandpa, you know. If he did it more than 3 times, he had a jig. He made it himself on how to you know, mass produce something.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that. So I learned
very
a lot from my grandpa. Yeah, very efficient. Yeah.
Dude, we grew up in like the same history.
Yeah.
Like parents divorced, went from the trailer house, moved into the house, worked with dad. You worked with grandpa. I never got the grandpa feeling, but like literally.
Well, if you ever met Mr. Bill, I think you get that vibe from him. He's a great guy. Yeah. So
when did you like learn all the swear words? Like by what age? Because I think I knew them like by 6. Yeah, I think I had them all down.
That was very early. I don't know, my dad's a wild card too. He's very good at what he does, but he's I don't know, he likes to do his own thing. So I mean, it works for him, you know. That's his road, and he's good at it. So you know.
So where did you leave? You know, you
kind of jumping Quiznos.
Yeah. And
I don't know the direct timeline of all those jobs. You know, they're kind of hit and miss.
But like, let's just talk about working with dad, because that sounds like what you were doing, dad and grandpa. It's kind of like always the side hustle, like that's what it always maybe come back to.
Yeah, kind of come back to that, and you know, I would, you know, help them out as much as I could, you know, because you know they're just 2 guys, and I remember they had a Hydromac skid steer. You know, they could only lift like 6 sheets of plywood. You know, so there we are, you know, running around the job site, 6 sheets of plywood. You know, we're getting stuff done. You know, and you know, you go to a big commercial site, and you know, you got 50-foot telehandlers, you know. It's like, wow, we were really
So what do you think was their limiting? Because I think this is an interesting topic. Like my dad was limiting, not many employees, wouldn't buy new equipment all the time, ran old Chevy pickups. Now we're running, like you saw the other side of the world, of the commercial world, like, hey, we got the tools we need, we can do bigger things, this is more efficient. Where do you think dad and Grandpa Bill maybe got it wrong compared to like where your like our vision comes from?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they got it wrong. I just feel like they just kind of they were good with where they were at. You know, they didn't feel the need to, you know, go any further. You know, them 2, it was my dad, my grandpa, and one other guy possibly. Sometimes they would drive down to the Mission, and my grandpa would wave a 50 out the window. Hey, I need help hauling sheetrock in. And I remember this like, you know, it was yesterday. I would be in the passenger seat. I was this little kid, and we go to the Mission to pick up these strangers to haul in sheetrock. Like, it blew my mind. You know, I'm like, oh my God, like these guys are rough. Wow. And my grandpa would always joke with them. Yeah, every bent corner or smash corner, I'm taking a quarter off or something. You know, so they actually did a good job.
That's awesome. So why do you think they never grew? What was their belief? Was it like, I always remember my dad telling me like, you're just getting into more problems.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they thought that. I know my grandpa and my dad way back in the day, it was Zeman Construction, and I don't know the whole story on that, but, you know, I feel like, you know, they ran into some, you know, business problems, right? You know, so I think, you know, moving forward from that, they just decided to keep it small and, you know, do certain things and not try and, you know,
they're their best worker.
Yeah.
They only know how to do it themselves.
They know when they're going to be at work. They know when they're not going to be at work, you know, that kind of thing.
I was telling Hunter this, but I said, I remember the first time my dad finally gave me the bowl float in the concrete world of things. So that'd be like, maybe like you getting the framing nailer. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he would not let me use that bowl float.
We can go back to concrete too. I mean, my dad would, he would edge everything, and one day he'd hand me the edger, and like I just remember like I'm gonna screw this up, like I'm doing like a foot, and he's around the whole thing, and done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my dad too, and he would literally walk every inch of mine, re-edge mine just to piss me off, I think. Oh,
your dad would jump in and do it for you instead of showing you how to do it.
He'd say it's low.
Yeah,
something didn't work out. Drove me freaking nuts because he was. What I'm kind of getting at is that like they are almost their worst enemy because they almost feel like they need to do it all.
Oh yeah. Where
millennials, kind of like ourselves, are willing to delegate.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and
you got to.
and I think with scaling, they viewed more problems because they just said, okay, if they had added 10 guys to their crew, they felt like they would need to do exactly what our dads did to us.
Yeah.
Watch everything.
Yeah, babysit everybody and push them out of the way when they're doing things wrong and do it themselves.
Right, and never allow them to grow. So I think the opportunity, how we think different, is that our dads were small-minded. That's where we came from, though. That's what we know. Mm-hmm. But we were willing to grow and adapt and grow ourselves by delegating. We talked about processes and systems because that's a big thing this year for us. It's like as we scale and keep growing more people, we want everyone to do things similar or the same if possible, because then everyone knows like the expectation and like there's no mysteries. Everyone's doing it like this. Yeah. Another project manager is running the same as Cody is or whatever. And I think Bill and your dad probably had systems, but they were built in their head.
Right. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. when we were building my house and, they put floor sheeting on upside down and they hammered in backwards or whatever. And I was like, it blew my mind. I'm like, I've never done it that way. Right.
Oh, gotcha.
But I went with it because, that's what they do. That's what they're used to. So they did it that way. So that's what we did. Well, me, I'd just go put the sheet on myself. Or they had, them two hold the sheet and bring it up there, and then they hammered in, But that's how they did it. So I stood out on the sideline.
Did they let you innovate at all? Because imagine you find easier ways to do things. Oh, yeah. I always found easier ways to do my things, and my dad's like, no.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. They're like, no, that's how we do things, right? So
it's their system.
Yeah,
it's their system. So whether they like it or not, they had a system.
Yep.
They weren't willing to document them and show them to you.
Right. Well, they would, some things they would show like, hey, we got tricks for this, just random little things,
Yeah, and in the field, I suppose you got something. You can't write a system for everything, but like, as you scale and you manage projects and you do bigger things, it's like you really, we could tell why we needed systems in Mac. It was just like, everyone kind of wants to do their own thing. You just find that out, and that's like, and then when you hire people, it's like, it's really apparent that like, now they want to do it their way. And it's like,
or they're looking at you like, how do we do this? And you're like, oh shit, I don't really know.
Now I have to show you.
Yeah, right. How do I show you that, right?
And instead of like solving every problem, now we just write them out on paper. Hunter does that for us.
Yeah, right.
And can provide a new person. This is exactly how we do it. And this is how we like it done. And this is when we would like it done. Right? Like,
yeah, that's a big one.
Because there's timings of everything. I know your wife seconds as we have Zeman the PA, Hunter Zeman the PA, and then we have Larissa Zeman, the controller, Cody Zeman, project manager, and there's a couple other Zeman.
Tyler Zeman, my cousin, same age as me, superintendent,
underneath
and then
you.
Tyler's dad, who's my uncle, Randy, the other superintendent. He comes with many years of experience, but we we like to keep the Zemans in check on here. So
Yeah, you got a lot of checks going on. So can you work with Let's talk about that for a second. Your wife's the controller, so affects your budgets. I imagine talks to you about budgeting.
Oh,
like she does me.
Yeah.
Hunter, he's your right-hand man as far as paperwork.
So, yeah, he's the right-hand guy. If I need something right away and I'm not here, he'll jump on it for me or whatever, or send out subcontracts, stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of a communication specialist really for Mac. I would say
I think so. Yeah,
between knows everything that's going on.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's where we like to keep him too. So.
Right. But he started out pushing a broom.
Yeah.
Wrong person, wrong seats.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to watch him grow.
Yeah.
Into a role here.
Yeah.
He can thrive. And then you have Tyler and Randy Zeman, both of them, are underneath you as superintendents.
Yeah, they work directly underneath me. Tyler and Randy have worked together for many years, at CE,
Some of the
community
local contractors. Yeah.
And Randy even had his own, framing company, which I actually worked at for a little bit too, but
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You're a flip-flopper.
Yeah. I like to jump around a little bit, wherever the money's at.
Geez, you've been here for a while. So
I was actually
you're probably jumping soon.
Yeah, I was actually with Randy framing houses for Thompson Homes and some of the bigger home builders in Fargo, and that's when the Mac position opened up. And I remember the day I told him, hey, I got this job opportunity, I think I'm going to take it. Randy didn't talk to me for like 2 months. He just gave me the cold shoulder.
That's because he's a baby boomer. My dad gets stubborn too.
Yeah,
they're stubborn.
Yeah, but now he works with me. So I mean,
so how do you work with family, or like my wife works in our business too, but that's kind of where it ends.
Yeah, the wife
almost...
thing is a little different. Your cousin, that's like your best friend growing up, right? So that's pretty easy.
Okay.
He knows what, if we need help, I've worked with him on site, framing houses. So like, I know what he can do. He knows what I can do. We can hammer stuff out if need be. But the wife thing, that was a little curveball. I remember you guys asking me like, is this going to be okay? And I'm like, I guess I don't know. I've never had this opportunity, right?
Yeah. So how do you deal with that at like let's just say all these family members really, you see them at Thanksgiving and like all that stuff, like how, like a personal level versus a business level, do you guys have a way you treat that, or like when you talk to family members, or because you definitely want the separation. My wife and I can do it pretty well.
Yeah, I think
but it does come home regardless. It's like, and how do you deal with some of that? You've dealt with it now.
Yeah, I would say it's more so, maybe with the wife versus, Randy or Tyler or even Hunter, they, men versus women thing, they don't hold things.
No grudges.
Hold a grudge as long as, maybe women do. No offense, Jen.
Yeah, Jen's the only one in the room. So, but this is probably going to go live. But any women, it seems like the grudge match gets held a little longer than it needs to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the wife, I think it's more about the balance than anything. Like if I know my wife's in a bad mood, I might just avoid the office for the day.
So you maybe are prepped when you leave the house.
Yeah, I try to make sure my wife's whatever she needs for work is done. Like that's one of my first priorities. Otherwise she's on my ass at work and at home, which I don't want.
Oh God.
So
how do you flex that on a bad day? You avoid.
Bad days, avoid the situation. Yeah.
We avoid.
Maybe not the best course of action, but it seems to work out, I think.
Well, sometimes space is the best mediator for everyone.
Yeah, I think so.
My wife, same way. I can give her some space. She just wants the space.
Yeah, I'll just maybe poke in the office and be like, what are you doing for lunch? Like, you want to go get lunch? Stuff like that. I won't try to bombard her all day, and just be in her bubble. So.
Gotcha. So you ask, it's the polite, and you're out.
Yeah.
No, okay, I'm gone.
Yeah. Oh, see you later. Yeah,
gotcha. So. But my wife and I, it's just like all these businesses, different problems, different situations, all these situations, right? It's like, we'll catch ourselves venting about it. I think that's more or less.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the venting situation.
The venting at home, I think there's a lot of that. You get to talk about stuff you probably couldn't talk about at work, right? So I think that helps a lot,
Yeah.
having somebody to talk to about things, and then you can relate, because you're in it with her, so.
Right. Yeah. It's a sounding board. But I think, do we balance, I honestly don't like the concept of work-life balance, because it's like, it could be noon and my daughter has something going on. I'm going to go watch it. I might be still working or doing business or whatever.
You got your phone on you, right?
Yeah, it's like
still sending emails or something, but you're there, right?
Yeah, people are like, 9 to 5, shut it all off. It's like,
yeah, you can't do that in the project management world.
Well,
at all.
Owning businesses, like,
oh yeah, you probably never shut off. You sent me that text last night at 10. So
I'm always thinking how I have my best ideas. I'm the most creative when I get the most free time.
Oh yeah.
So when I get the most free time, then I'm coming up with weird shit, probably like, but it's so important for me to have free time to think, and I come up with my best ideas then, or whatever. And I educate myself constantly, but yeah, like, we're going to Florida next week. I can't just shut it all off,
right? Yeah.
Right? Like, I like to be known to do it. Can I shut it off to a point? For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm unavailable, or don't call me unless you need me, or send me an email.
Or you just delegate it to that first person that, can handle the situation. Right?
Yeah, but I still spend an hour a day, look at the emails quickly and the social media, whatever I need to, 1 hour a day on vacation. I look at it, I respond to what I need, and I know people like respect the time, but it's like, if they can get the answer for me in 2 seconds,
right? Yeah,
I'm available, right? Like, hit me with a text. So I don't know, and I wouldn't call that perfect work. Like, people are like, no, only work 9 to 5, and then I'm home with my kids doing whatever my kids want to do. I completely respect that.
Right.
I just think in a situation where you're a business or an entrepreneur or a project manager or whoever you are, I would say that doesn't apply to the 90% living out there.
Yeah, multitasking balance. That's basically what it is. You're multitasking. You're doing what the kids want to do, but at the same time, you're still getting things done.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just introduce my kids into the situation.
Yeah.
And they can learn from that, and I'm good with it, and my family's good with it. My wife yells at me sometimes because I do it. She needs to understand what I do versus what she does, but she's supportive for most of it. So I think it's important, but yeah, working with family can be difficult. The work-life balance, like I said, I'm not a huge believer that it's a perfect, crispy line where I block focus 9 to 5 to work and then it's just home. I just try to win in every situation. If my kids' events are during the day, no matter if yours, I would never tell you to not go to your son's ball game at 3:00.
Right. Yeah.
You know what your situation is. You know what you're responsible for.
Yep.
I respect that as you. You respect what I need to do. Let's just get our shit done and not balance it perfectly.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the biggest things I noticed, coming to Mac. It's pretty, I wouldn't say it's like, free reign, but, right. As long as you get your stuff done, it's whatever.
Yeah, the expectations of what we do, I think I just like my expectations of get your shit done. Like, I like that motto. Make it happen. It's like, if we all gotta, like, the whole office has to leave and go help frame a freaking wall, like, maybe that's just what we need to do because it's a big customer and it affects everybody.
That would make Mike stay, I think, if we had to all go out in the field. He would love it.
Yeah, Mike would love that. But I mean, like, no different on a concrete pour, no different on a whatever it is. We're gonna do whatever it takes to get our customer the best project that we can and provide them the most value. And like I said, if you're gonna build anything, Cody be one you would work with. Our whole team from pre-construction to final turning the keys over. Our goal is to get, and there's bumps along the road. We're learning, right? But we are simply refining our processes to give the best product that you can get at the end on the timeline you want. And COVID's help, there's all these situations we can use them as excuses, but it's like a true thing. It's all out there. I mean, it's affecting everyone in every market, and it's what we talk about. We if we can get faster and better and cheaper and provide more value than the next guy, that's really that's our gold standard of what we.
Yeah, I'd say building relationships too. I think that's a big one. A lot of our customers are repeat. I think they just like working with us. Because the way we do things and the type of guys we are. We can. Yeah,
we adapt to the customer.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, we have to, and the relationship points, like, it's a big factor for us when the customer comes back to us and we're like, yeah, you know what? We'd rather you do it. You weren't even the lowest bidder.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's a win. Right?
Hey, maybe we weren't apples to apples, or let's look at this. Maybe we can find the value. Maybe we be less. And in a lot of situations, we provide value. We think it's what our customers think as well, that we can provide more value at the most cost-effective approach. So, Cody, any last words of what if someone wanted to be a project manager, or kind of how the MAC works and how you kind of been successful, I guess?
Yeah, I'd say if you want to go for it, if you're in the framing world, or you're heavy in the doing of construction, just go for it. There's always a need for the guy out in the field, so you can always fall back on that if things don't work out.
Yeah, $30-$40 an hour, like,
yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
We could dream of that 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was my thing. I always said I could always go back to being a framer if I needed to, but yeah, luckily it's worked out anyway. So
the short-term money would be there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and it would be fruitful, but the long-term effects wouldn't be as great.
Yeah, just like you're 60, you're framing houses, like, that's got to be pretty tough on you, so that's the way I looked at it, right?
Yeah, you're investing in your career, you're investing in you're investing in your career and the skills. You're improving your skills to be more valuable in the future. Then going to frame, you can only be as valuable as the best framer,
Right, yeah.
So, well, if you want to find Cody, where would we find you? LinkedIn, is that, or where?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I don't think I'm the most savvy at LinkedIn, but yeah, I'm on there.
Construction guy thing.
Yeah. So, my email's on the website, I think,
Yeah. If you have questions on like how commercial projects work, how to manage them, find Cody on LinkedIn. I'm sure you can hit him with a message. He would definitely help provide you some value.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
We're all learning here. I'm learning in my position. Cody's learning in his position. It's continual. All we do is try to be, 1% better than the day before. And if we feel like we can do that, we feel like we can have success in the future for our customers, our subs, everyone that works with us. They love working for us. And that shows something for us. That's really what we want to build here. So,
yep.
Cody, appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Keep killing it. We'll hit up a follow-up to this probably later this year, but thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.